I greet you all, my esteemed viewers of All Culture TV. For the week, I wish you peace and healing, and still sharing in your sadness, for you have lost your loved ones. Today, we are going to look at construction and basically construction of storage houses. What we go through, what we are supposed to go through, and what is supposed to be done, but in the right way. A storage house, first of all, a storage house is a house with more than one floor, or known as a multi-story building. A storage house are typically tall and used for residential, commercial, or institutional purposes. But still, for the purposes of learning, you may also get to know that we have a double storage house, split level house, and the Cape Cod style house as a type of storage houses. But for the double storage houses, this is a house with levels connected by stairs, and basically it is always 2 levels. Then for the split level houses, this is a house with a multiple floor separated by short flights of stairs. For a standard height of a house or a wall from the floor to the next beam, or to the next floor, or the next slab, it is advisable that the standard measurement is 8 to 10 feet height, which is 2.4 to 3 meters, or when we go to centimeters, 8 feet, that is 243.84 centimeters to 304.8 centimeters. But remember, most of the plans are drawn and are basically done in millimeters. So the standard height still, when we convert 8 feet to 10 feet into millimeters, you will discover that we are getting 2,438.4 to 3,048 millimeters. The architectural drawing from the blueprint should not be violated and should be respected so as to produce quality and smart work, as you can see in the video. I was telling you about the plans, that the plans are drawn in millimeters. Most of the plans are drawn in millimeters because millimeters are small units of measurements that are used for precise measurements of small objects. However, you may again be surprised to see foundation floor plans drawn in meters. Don't get worried. That is done and it's normal. But also don't forget that failure to interpret the blueprint will cause havoc, both socially or economically. And this basically affects the pocket or the finance or the budget of the project, which affects negatively on the financial aspect from the side of the client. And remember, an engineer who may fail to interpret a plan or produce shadow work may also lose market as well. When you are mixing sand and cement for an average mortar, the mixture ratio should be at least 3 to 1 or 4 to 1. For bricks laying, basically, that's when you can produce a good brick without violating the principles, smart work without violating the principles. That will make the client happy and the users of the end product finally. Remember, when you don't produce smart work, there is a way it affects the client economically. So you need to be so careful. So when I'm using a point mix, this is what we call point mix in construction. Then there I can go and use 1 to 4, a ratio of 1 to 4. This means when I say 1 to 4 or 1 to 5, I mean 1 bag of cement for 4 wheelbarrows. This is to enhance a strong and good-looking brickwork without wastage. But in circumstances where I'm making a mixture of a concrete, the ratio decision is arrived at depending on how hard is the desired concrete. In construction, there is what we call an artificial rock, like that one you are seeing on the floor, and that beam rising down from down upwards. That is near an artificial rock because supposed to hold the building. Now, basically for concrete, we can use a ratio of 1 to 2 to achieve the desired and the maximum strength. But while building storage houses, specified strength is resultant of the strength of the mixture at an age of 28 days. 28 days, this I mean 4 weeks or 672 hours. But for common slabs and residential houses, we use a ratio of 1 to 2 to 3. However, the amount of water you use to mix the materials also affect the strength of the concrete or the mortar. Too much water is not needed, though the amount of water used may be determined by the weather and the moisture content of sun. And in all materials, we do add 10% above the required items so as to cater for wastage. But remember, to produce quality work, like you can see in the video, these columns are support the life of the whole project. The whole building will stand if the columns are well erected, the walls are well erected at 90 degrees, standing on a very well established base. So when you are doing this construction, you have to be so careful to avoid the loss, both the contractor and the client, because it can result to losing of lives. Now there is even when you are making stairs, the steepness, the degree of steepness should be considered, such that those people who are climbing the ladders, the stairs, they don't get stressed. They find it, they get in some easiness while climbing. So when you build stairs that are hard to climb, then the users will not enjoy it, because most of the houses don't have lifts because of the costs attached. So many people tend to avoid lifts in their houses. But now the ladders, the stairs when they are being constructed, endeavor to control the degree of steepness. Now look at here. When you are building smart work, good bricks, good mortar, and then you'll discover that you're going to save in plastering. But when you do a survey work, there is a way it costs you while plastering. At a point where you would have used like 2 bags of cement, you'll discover you're going to use 4 or 5 because of shabby work. But here the work is neat, as you can see. Then while casting the slab, as you can see in the video, or columns, we use vibrators to compact the concrete and remove air bubbles, which improve the concrete strength, durability, and workability. Vibrating concrete increases its density and strength by packing the aggregate particles together, hence a more durable concrete structure, as you can see here on the column, on the beam. It was well vibrated. Vibrating a concrete should remove air bubbles that can cause voids or cavities in the slab, which can weaken the structural integrity. Without vibrators, you cannot move around forms and reinforcements. Even smooth finishing, which results from proper aggregate mixing and concrete compacting, cannot be achieved. It is during vibration that concrete bleeding is stopped, which occurs when water moves upwards through the concrete and out the top. The curing process is also accelerated through vibration. When the vibration is not properly done, it increases costs of maintenance and repair of the structure, and vice versa. But here you can see the vibration was well done. You can see that is a sign of good vibration. The one who was handling it knew what he was doing. You can see the size of the mortar, exactly the recommendable one. You can see the floor slab and the best aggregate. That good slab, you must have used a good aggregate to come up with that smart work, because other people violate the aggregates that are supposed to be used. But the best aggregates for slabs depends on the project, though these are options like there are options like crust stones, granite, I think there is sand, cubical aggregates, and then the 20mm blasts. For slabs, we usually use 9.5mm and 7.5mm in diameter. But before casting the slabs and installing the iron rods, which are made in form of beams, the one we call the skeleton of the house, the beams made from iron rods. There's a tribe who call them Miteyimbwa. Before casting those slabs properly, the following should be ensured. 07655265449. You will be in touch with us, Glance Construction Company. I was telling, sorry for interruption because of electricity. It is on and off, but I was sharing with that before casting the slab and installing the iron bars, the following should be ensured: that prop should be strong under the slab, and check every prop, but practically underline load over the slab to cast. No leakages for water and salary should be allowed. So make it waterproof before laying reinforcements. Failure to do that, you're going to see something like this. And like I told you early on, that this is going out to affect the client. This is not good, and it can cause other dangerous issues that I don't want to mention at the moment. But if you want a smart slab, ensure over 15 to 20mm under reinforcement tie firmly on slab, because these iron rods are not supposed to be exposed, because now when they get exposed because of moisture and these other elements, rusting starts, and I believe you can guess what will happen. But to avoid all this, you should make sure that you use a 30mm nodule vibrator for beams and columns, but surface vibrators for slabs is 5-inch thick. However, before laying the slab, for concealed conduct, PVC pipes should not pass through columns, and minimum pipes through beams. Use chairs to support top rods. You should use chairs to support top rods, because the support must be enough. It must be sufficient to lift the load, to support the load until it cures. But also be careful during joints of fresh concrete and old concrete. Try to finish work in time and make construction joints on columns centers where need for joining may arise in future. Then keep the support undisturbed for a minimum of 15 days or 2 weeks and 1 day. Or that could be roughly 359 or 360 hours. But don't forget that the desired days are 21 days or 504 hours. Keep checks and support during work and produce not bad work, because the client in the end requires smart work and a strong building. But now when you leave shabby work like this, it consumes while plastering, it's going to consume a lot of cement. It is going to call for repair. It's going to call for a number of issues, but they are all not financial friendly. Then the house or a project should be attractive. As you can see, it should be attractive and smart. If there is land scaping, it should be properly done, because this house has to be habitable, and those who are staying in it should be enjoying the environment. You see, that's how the slab is supposed to look like. That is if the compaction is done to the required standards. Then when the spacers are not properly spaced, it leaves the iron bars exposed, because you may put the spacers, but again you fail to put them properly. Because to at least take 2 inches, it should cover 2 inches. You see, now here you'll discover that the support was not sufficient to hold the beam. So the weight was too much in relation